perhaps that was going too far and hanging out with the wrong people for too long. And probably very grateful for that moment, because that kind of just made me, all right, I've got two choices, Damo. Where do you want to head? It's like, how much shit do we need that we need to now store it? That we pay for something to hold it that we're not ever going to use. She said, I've never gone to the gym before. And it's like, hey, just come in and experience it, and then you'll understand why people do this silly thing called working out. How much do I need to work right now? Like, you know, is it worth sacrificing staying up for a couple more hours?
Big doggy.
Look at this.
Here he is.
Hang on to whatever. Can you go again?
G'day.
G'day. How you going?
What's happening, big dog?
Look at you lads. You well?
Yeah, I'm amazing, dude. How are you?
I am. How am I? Jeez. Content.
I like that. You look good. You look happy. You look content. If you said, hey, can you draw a picture of a guy that looked content? I'd draw a picture of you.
I like that. Thank you. Do I have my hat on? What do I have hair?
Yeah.
You got the hair.
Yeah.
I like it. Gee, cool. This is looking good.
You're vibing it, bro? You haven't seen that, have you?
That's naughty.
Yeah.
That is real naughty.
Yeah. Thanks so much for jumping on, dude. It's cool. I remember the first time that we spoke, like, it was a while ago now, right? And I think we just had, like, you know, when you come across them people that just, like, they seem like they're your people. It was like, oh, like, Damo's a legend. He's like, we had very similar values and thoughts and opinions. And I'm like, it's going to be cool to sort of sit down and have a proper chat one day. So I'm glad that we've finally been able to do it, dude.
Me too, mate. I'm glad it's even recorded. I mean, now there's a bit of evidence here of a conversation.
That's right, dude. 100%. So, but the whole idea of this, right, is just to sort of catch up and learn about who you are and how you ended up in business and, you know, like your family, just sort of talk about like the life of Damo. So, mate, if you can tell us sort of, like go back and like where were you born or where were you from?
Great question. I like that. Start off with that. Where was I born? I was born in a little place called Gaborone, which is, well, there we go. Where's Gaborone? What capital city is that, lads?
I guess that is in WA somewhere, just outside of Kalgoorlie.
No, another continent. So it's Botswana.
Botswana,
Wow.
is it?
Yeah, there we go. So, yeah, I grew up there. I was born there, grew up there, and was about 12 when I moved to good old Kalgoorlie.
Wow. So, like, what were you doing there? Like, were you there? Like, your parents worked there, or?
Yeah, back there in Botswana, what I can remember is, Dad worked there. A few things happened, unfortunately. Not in a terrible way, but my parents very grateful for both of them, made the call to go, you know, there's a better life, better opportunity for my sister and I. So they took the plunge and, you know, they sold their house, and it was about $20,000. It worked out to be after, you know, doing the exchange. And so, you know, they literally jumped here knowing nobody. Nobody. They knew someone in Perth, but no one in Kalgoorlie as such. And so, I guess they took the plunge and they went after it. And you know, I guess having only $20,000 in the bank and then having to put a house they didn't even, you know, obviously buying a car for $10,000 and they're leaving with 10, and then they didn't even realize that, like, a bond, right? They're like, wait, I have to pay whatever 6 weeks ahead. So all these little things that they had to take into consideration. And then even more so, I think my dad tells me a story about he rocked up to his job. You know, he's packed up, sold everything, walked in to the office day one at the nickel smelter that sadly, I think it's under maintenance or closed. But he said, sorry, I haven't even got your name on here. I don't know who you are. And so I'm sure he was very prayerful for about 4 or 5 hours trying to figure out. And after all, I guess, so I'm trying to picture that for him, you know, being,
Wow.
it would have been 35 then.
Hey, mate, what Kalgoorlie, do you know? Like, the whole country, how they land at Kalgoorlie?
Well, we had at least Kalgoorlie. Just the whole point was just, it's just opportunity. He was a fitter and burner, and it was just like, you know, bang, let's get there. And there's opportunities, right? You either go, if you're from a third world country, you're looking at Canada, you're looking at England or the UK and New Zealand or Australia. those are kind of the picks you had when you had a trade, or when you have a trade coming from a third world. And so the best option came up was our best option. Well, it was Australia, right? And my parents went here and they're like, this place is awesome. And so they were there for 2 years. He was doing this job for 2 years. We got our PR, and an opportunity came for them to, buy a business, and it was like a firearm camping clothing store. And so they've been in that for nearly 15 years, I think.
Wow, incredible.
So how old were you when you come over?
12.
So that's bang on high school.
Yeah, bang. Maybe it's 11. I don't even know. I got kept back.
It's
enough. Year 6 I was here. So just like April year 6, I believe. That's kind of when I rolled in, which may have been, I don't even remember the terms, but maybe end of first term or start of second term. So yeah.
What was that challenging?
Was it challenging? Absolutely. It's interesting. Talk about diversity. There was in Botswana, it's the reverse, right? In a way of like, in the class of 35, I was the only white kid, or me and my best mate were the only white kids. So I've been like exposed to being the opposite. Then I come to Australia, and then obviously I'm like, wow, I've never seen so many white people in my life.
Wow.
As a little kid, you're just like, wow, look at, and to be fair, 12, testosterone is starting to kick in. And I might have developed early. So you're like, wow, who are all these pretty girls? And that was kind of the time where, I've never seen so many white people doing things. And it was, and I'll say white people just to be, I don't know, what is this word? Anyway, don't worry. But yeah.
White people.
Yeah. Hopefully no one listens to this. So it was, how was it moving in? It was, I guess you're, to being exposed to that being the first thing, you're like, wow, what? Like, I come from a really, like you said, I'm full of gratitude, right? So you're coming into a place that's new, and you're like, wow, what is all these exciting things? People play sport here quite competitively. There's all these friendships groups, and I developed quite young, so I felt I was maybe one of the bigger kids as such. And so it was cool to jump in and learn a different culture as such. Australia's pretty lax in a way, and definitely Kalgoorlie.
What nationality? What nationality were your parents?
I'm a bit of a. So my mum was born in Chile, and then my dad was born in Zambia, and then they met in Botswana, and then so I was born in Botswana, and then couldn't even get citizenship there. So I actually had a South African passport. So I'm a bit of a mongrel, and
You're a mutt.
Mutt, yeah. So yeah.
That's wild. Zambia. Is that where Zambreros was born?
Maybe. Imagine
that. It's interesting, dude. Like Zach and I, we moved around like a lot when we were young as well, and I actually didn't know that story about you, right? And like I'm interested to try to learn or understand like how important that situation was in like who you are now, because I imagine when you went into that new community, then a lot of them kids there had known each other like their entire lives. Like they went from preschool right through public school and then high school, and you're a guy that's been like living in like a very different world. You're exposed to so much different, right? And then like I think that so like the challenge of like, did you get the migration into that schooling system? Was it pretty simple, like, or was there like bullying and torment, or like did you feel like you fitted in?
Yeah, of course, mate. I've got red hair straight away. That doesn't come off. And in Africa, I said bullying. I don't remember being bullied. In a way back then, perhaps still, being a white person, you're not glorified, but you're looked after extra. People.
It's like reverse bullying.
Hey,
it's like reverse bullying.
Yeah, reverse bullying. Exactly. I remember actually talk about this. Yeah, so that was a different. They'll be like, "Hey, Ranger, what is that? Like, what are you even saying?" And I remember even someone said, "Damo, you're Damo." I said, "Nah, my name's Damien, and if you want to call me something, they call me JP, but please just stick to Damien." And it took me, I don't know, a few months to go, all right, I guess my identity is Damo, and I'm happy with that. And I go by Damo now. I'm fully Australian.
That's when you know you're welcome into the country, when you get a nickname.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the first things. You're Damo. I was like, no, but now I'm like, no, I am Damo.
Yeah, that's so interesting, dude.
Yeah.
And did you had brothers and sisters as well?
Yeah, one younger sister, 2.5 years younger than me. So yeah.
And that, are you still close to? Do your parents live close to you now, or like he's all still, or they're in Kalgoorlie still?
Well, then Kalgoorlie, we're in Perth. So my wife's parents as well. They own a toy shop next to my parents' shop. So they've been there for 20 years, and my parents have been there for 15 years. So
Wow.
You didn't met,
oh well, pretty cool. I met my wife, obviously, who've been married for nearly 10 years. So yeah, it's pretty cool how close. And all the family is in Kalgoorlie, and that's both sets. So she's got four. There's four brothers and sisters there. I've just got my sister, but everyone else is in Kalgoorlie. So yeah.
That's wild, dude. So you met your wife now, like at the shop, like you were there with your parents.
Well, it was actually a church, hey, and it was just like, oh, who's this girl over there in the corner? And again, you've come from a how old? Again, 12 years old, just going, wow, who's this? And so kind of started off like that in a way. Not quite high school sweetheart. She definitely didn't love me or like me like that at all. And then a case of just like, who is this person?
You slowly wore her down.
Yeah, finally got to settle down, and we maybe she saw something different in me. I don't know. After 18.
So you went through high school. That was all pretty standard. Was it like anything like just normal high schooling? Then you sort of moved, or what happened?
Yeah, normal high schooling, you could say. Grateful again. Parents sent me to private education, and I think my talk about high school. Then there's probably two big events at about year 9. I was 14, 15. I took my dad's new Parado out for a joyride and had two of my, at the time, best mates in there. And I actually totaled the car and it completely written off, and lucky to survive. Lucky to survive. Sure. Like I'm going to a funeral tomorrow, and it's like, he was in a car accident at 18 and he didn't make it. So you think, what? Anyway, you obviously your thoughts go,
Could have been either way.
Where could I have been? If I'd killed my two best mates or whatever at the time. So that was kind of a big pinnacle turning point for me, because it was probably a time where I'm a cheeky kid in a way like that, and I'm still a kid and I'm still a bit cheeky, and like perhaps I was going too far and hanging out with the wrong people for too long, and probably very grateful for that moment, because that kind of just made me, all right, I've got two choices, Damo, where do you want to head? And then maybe a year or two after that, kind of dad said, don't worry about money, just follow your passion, and money will come. And obviously being from Kalgoorlie, I say this as an assumption, but most people move there to make a good quid, and so they set themselves up for life. So I was really grateful that he kind of just led me on that path, and I guess that's where it led to fitness, where it was like, all right, I love people, I love connection, sweet, we'll start there, and then fitness, I love sport. I was like, oh, I'll just study this. This is great. I don't like studying too much, and I thought, you can do this in whatever 6 months this course, so let me do that. And so kind of just started there.
Crazy, mate. So then out of school, you went into the fitness route, did you? You went and got your certificates and started sort of applying that? Is that straight out of school?
Yeah, straight away. So 17, 18, finished my studies as such. And yeah, just again, my parents lent me, there was a room like an outside room that I could set up my own little gym and did one-on-one PTs. And then we did group fitness from there. When I say group fitness, I say fitness. Group boot camps. And so we'd go to the local park, do like a little 8-week boot camp, transformation. And yeah, enough that I think one of my biggest boot camps, 18, I had, you start something not thinking of anything, right? And you had 50 people rock up, and I was like, oh my gosh, like what the heck, 50 people? How good is this? And at an 18-year-old, whatever you charge, $150, you're like, this is amazing. Just the opportunity, but not both the money, but of course the people, like putting trust into me. I think that was a huge response. It was like, here's $50 for a session. I trust you to, deliver me what I need to. And I think, when people have given you responsibility, you kind of, you learn to show up. And then over time, that trust is built and the relationships are built, and all of a sudden, like I'm at F45 South Perth now, right? And there's a girl who was one of my first clients at 18. She's now training at South Perth, so she's moved to Google, and you're like, how beautiful is that? You know, just the fact that you can connect with people and still help them on a pretty awesome journey. So yeah.
That when you talk about like them trading their money for basically your skills, right, or your information, there's some people that would like buckle under that sort of pressure because like it's expectation. Like they expect that you know what you're talking about in order for them to get what they want, and they're going to trade you $50 for that. You're like, oh wow, like I'm not sure if I'm the person, and like people buckle or people grow from that. So I think like expectation and pressure is like the ultimate sign of confidence, or like, you know, because sometimes we might have self-confidence we might have a lack of self-confidence, but other people can see what we don't, and they're like, hey, no, you're the guy, like I'm going to invest in you to help me.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. And I don't know where that maybe the confidence comes from. Perhaps I think the most important thing is I learned to listen. My dad's an incredible listener, and it's a skill that I've acquired definitely, because when you hear people and you hear, after a time, you hear the problem you need. They'll tell you the problem, and then you try to figure out the best way to solve. And it's not you figuring it out in a way. It might just be suggestions, or a lot of people just want to have someone there listening to them, right? Because once you speak, you've already solved. You've already, you know, gone already a couple of steps ahead, because now you feel amazing because you've released that, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think over time, that's been the best thing for me, and I still kept that, is listening. Listening is the key, because people tell you more information than you've even asked. You haven't asked a question, and people have already said everything they needed to say, and then it's just building that trust. And I think the key there for anyone exchanging services is the trust element, and the making sure that they can connect with you as well and see that you're human.
And I don't want to jump too far ahead, but like, do you sort of guide your coaches in that same, like, is that like a core value for South Perth?
Do I guide them? It's funny. We recently just hired a new girl. Her name's Katie, and almost a year ago, another guy named Liam. So not directly, but I'll go. My interview process is, to be fair, I don't even look at the resume. I just go, hey, how are you? And like that first interaction is the most important interaction. It's like when we walk into a coffee shop, we're already judging it for the first 10 seconds. Oh, why haven't they cleared the stuff there? Why is there dirt here? And why is the coffee now $10 or whatever it is, right? Like, I'm out.
Why is that chick pervert on me? I'm married.
Yeah. And so in terms of that, it's about, you can train someone to be an amazing trainer, but you can't train people to like people. And that's my first thing. If you like people, you're hired, essentially, in a way. Obviously, there's other things that I like to look at, like do they have their travel, what's their knowledge and things. But those things can come. But if you don't like people, it's really hard to do what we do, I believe. So yeah.
So you're doing the one-on-one, sort of basically working for yourself, right? Like at 17, 18. Is that fair to say? And then what was the next progression thereafter? Like, and you were with your wife then, or you were single? Like,
I was single, yeah. We weren't together then. It was, how did that eventuate? So what happened from there was a case of like, I love my cricket and big cricket fan. So I got my wife, well, at the time about 20. So I'd been in the industry, let's say, for 2 years. At the time, Michaela, we'd become friendly, and kind of a case of like, all right, within a year we started dating, engaged, married. Always wanted to get married young. Perhaps that's to the case of seeing people, training with people that I've gone, okay, you're 30, 35, and you don't have to tell me you're lonely, but I can see you are. And it's like, I don't want to be like that. Maybe that was part of an instigation to get married young. Anyway, God willing, I had this beautiful wife that, that's my daughter, Michaela. And from there we just, I guess, got married, as I said, engaged, married. And then she wanted to cut hair in London, and previously to that, she was in Sydney, and so she's like, "Oh, I'd love to cut hair." I said, "Oh, I'd love to play cricket." And so we kind of kicked off in that direction where it was like, all right, let's go and head toward that direction. And so moved to London for a few years and traveled. Was really encouraged to go and see the world and travel. And so there was that opportunity where I was like, all right, let's go. And so best part is I found a contract there as such, and you get looked after. They find you a house, they fly you over. And you just, you're the local pro as such. Not that I am wrong, but yeah.
That's cool, man. What were you, batter or bowler?
Oh, a batsman, yeah. And I pretend to like to think I bowl, but anyway.
That would have been pretty fun, yeah. Like two young kids in love over in London. Like you're playing cricket, which is what you love. She's like cutting hair. Like that would have been a pretty mad vibe.
Oh, it was amazing. It's the best way to learn and grow, because obviously within that year we're like, all right, let's get going, and it was the best way to get to know each other and get that quality time without small time vibes where there's other people influencing your relationship. And I was like, here we got each other to lean on, not whoever that's really in close proximity. So that made it, that grew the relationship and fast tracked to to where we're at now. Got two beautiful kids together. So yeah.
So you come like that sort of like you kind of done everything you wanted to over there, and you're like, hey, let's come home now.
What do we do? Yeah, we had a 2-year working visa. We spent 20 months in London or the UK. And the best part is that we were traveling back and forth from visiting America, going to South America, going to do Europe. We came back to Australia, so we had opportunity to travel quite a bit. And so maybe we ran out, where I think we spent the last back end of that 2.5 years traveling full time for 6-9 months, something like that. So you're getting the grass is always greener on the other side, apparently, right? But we were living out in our suitcases, or not now in beds, and trying the best to make this $100 last you a few days.
Yeah.
What were you funding your lifestyle on then, Damo? Like, is there any income, or is it sort of savings?
Savings, hey, a chronic saver. My mum taught me to be an absolute chronic saver. And so that's kind of where it came about, where we had some money saved up. But equally, I think like in 9 months, we spent $25,000 between us both, right? And we saw how many, very great, maybe 25 countries, right? And that included flights and everything. And so we did things on the cheap, right? Like enough that when we went to America and New York, I think they overbooked the flights, and we had an opportunity. They were like, all right, we will pay you $1,000 to stay one night, and we'll pay for your accommodation, give you $100 voucher. I went straight to the front going, yeah, here's my ticket, here's my wife's ticket. I'll take both those, thank you. And
and that keeps you going for another 2 months. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. So look, cool opportunities like that, right? And so we made the money go as long as we can. We do woofing, where you would work for 4 or 5 hours in exchange for accommodation, some food, and maybe they give you a bike, right? And some internet, of course. But yeah, you'd do that, and you'd spend 2-3 weeks. One of the things, we were in Vancouver Island for 2 or 3 weeks, and it was stunning. Like, you meet different people, you're just exposed to a different culture and way of living. So we had little tricks and tips, such as to try and make our money go a long way.
Do you think you'll encourage your children to travel?
Absolutely. Even people in the gym that are quite young, just finishing high school, I'm like, go travel. And it's, people say, they say travel while you're young. I never understood that, but I did it. But it's like, travel while you have no responsibility, because all of a sudden you have a business, you have a wife to take care of, or and 2 kids. It's like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I can't leave for more than a month or 2. So it's like, travel while you have no responsibility. Whatever age that looks like, just do it. And go expose yourself to the world, because it's the world's the best lesson, right? It's an experience. So jump in and go see other cultures, go experience, go be open, go ask questions. So I'd be absolutely encouraging both my kids to do that.
I don't have like many like regrets as such of anything how my life's played out, but that's something that sort of like I think about every now and again is the missed opportunity at that stage in life to go and pursue that. Like it might be exactly what you said, to go and have 12 months off, with a backpack and go and figure it out. And I never did it. And then there's definitely a window where it makes sense. And as soon as you start to, like you said, responsibility kicks in. Mate, even a full-time job's hard, right? You leave a full-time job for 12 months and like your employer doesn't want you there. So it's like, you can't have 12 months off. So, full-time jobs is even, too much responsibility, right? It's like, a kid or a house or a mortgage or a car payment, it's stuck. Like it's hard. So, yeah, it's something that I, if I had another go at it, I would have went. So, yeah, I think it's powerful.
So, nah, dude, I didn't either. Like I didn't go overseas, man. The first time I went overseas was on my honeymoon when I was 25 or 26 and went to Thailand. That was like, bro, like I'd done more traveling in the last 2 years than what I have in, the last 37. So, like that. And more recently, like I've like enjoyed it dramatically. Like I've done like a little around the world trip with my family last year. We went Singapore, Germany, US. Like that was like with 4 young kids. That was a vibe. Like it was incredible. And I know that has changed the perception of their life, right? Like they're like, oh wow, like they're seeing different cultures and like just like how different countries work and like the planes and like when you travel at the very least, it makes you aware of like how big everything is. I remember being in Germany, dude. I'm like, I'm so far from home. Like home is so far away. And this might be weird, but I remember looking at a tree and I'm like, if I didn't come here, I'd never ever see that tree. Like I wouldn't have known that tree existed. But like that tree has been like this big old oak tree in Germany somewhere, right? It was a place called Riesa. And I was like, I would never have known that tree existed if I didn't come here. And people walk past this all the day. Like it was, really, really cool.
Does it open to you your life now when you're at home? Do you have that same, do you try to feel like to travel while you're at home?
Yeah. Like I want to travel with a young family. Like I think I've always been like this, but I don't want my kids to sort of slow me down or like, that be an excuse. I think like they're not the excuse, they're the reason. Like I want to sort of travel with them as much as I can. One of our values is like be mobile. Like for Zach and I, we're privileged in the way that like we're not tied to a geographical location so much. Like we can travel and work, which is like something that I'm incredibly grateful for. I think my wife would think a little bit differently, but like ideally I would like to do like a term in different countries, like go do a term in the Philippines, go do a term in Germany and like put kids in schools, for a term or like,
half a year, you could chase the summer.
Bro, that'd be mad. Like imagine going to Canada for 6 months, during our winter like that. I think we could all agree that would not hurt our children. It would benefit them. But it's just, it's just like trying to break that small town mindset of like, hey, it's going to be a disruption because, they have a small group of friends.
Yeah, it's amazing. It reminds me of even talking to Leeds, right? I just got off the phone to someone she said, I've never gone to the gym before. And it's like, hey, just come in and experience it, and then you'll understand why people do this silly thing called working out, right? Because we're a domino effect. And like that traveling, right? It's like you got to go experience it. You got to go to Germany and see this oak tree. And only doing that, then this starts to change. But yeah, I always find that, hey, right, if there's something there that you fear or whatever, go after it, because what is beyond there can open up so much more, right? Well, if your wife ever listens to that, get your ass out of the small country town.
Yeah.
Damo said.
It's more convenience for a huge gain, I reckon.
Yeah, dude, I agree. And from a cost point of view as well, like I think the other thing that it reminded me of is that we accumulate way too much way too many things. Like we have too many things. What do we need all this for? And like when you travel, you can sort of move light and you come back and I have an on-site caravan at Port Stephens, okay? And like we'll be there for nearly 8 weeks during December and January. And there's 6 of us, 4 young kids living in a caravan and an annex, right? Small. There's no, like the bathroom is in a communal bathroom. So we don't even have our own bathroom. We got to go to the amenities. But like during that time, it is like the most amazing 8 weeks of the year. And we come home after living in like a caravan to a bigger house. It's like, do we need, like, what's all this thing? Like, we didn't even miss this thing. What do we need all the room for?
Yeah, toy rooms, and you got 2 toilets, and yeah.
Yeah, you're spot on, isn't it? We just came back. So as I said, I got a 5.5-month-old and 2.5-year-old. We just got back from South Korea, and we went with hand luggage, two bags, and so it was just like people are like, you're crazy. I said, no, they do have stuff that they do have kids in South Korea. If I need nappies, I'm sure I'll have nappies. If I need a dummy, I'm sure I can buy another dummy. I don't need to buy more clothes bring more clothes or bring my whole luggage. I'll go buy something if I need it.
We generally travel way too heavy. Like even the last few trips we've been on, like, we've taken carry-on luggage as well. And it's like, we went to the States for, was it 10 days or something? And it was like in and out, like you use a handful of shirts and you find a hotel, you find a wash machine, you wash and you're good to go again. Yeah, way easier through transport too.
We've become too comfortable with the things we have, and it's like, if I don't have that, how can I function? It's like, fuck, you'll be all right, mate. Like, chill out. Yeah. But it's okay. If you lose your phone, you can probably use your wife's. It's all right, whatever.
I even question, and like it's helpful, right? But it's not necessarily like a necessity. Like 2 cars. Like when you just said 2 phones, it's like we got 2. Everything's 2. It's like there's a lot of. That takes a lot of energy. I remember watching this Netflix documentary ages ago. It was about these 2 dudes that they were like minimalists, right? And they had a Netflix documentary around minimalism. And I watched it. I didn't even know what it was until I watched it. But they were talking about like how simple some of these people live, and it was almost like freeing, like this, because like the third cupboard in your kitchen, and it's full of shit, and like that's where the spare batteries are, and if you need a button, you'll likely find it in there. Then the shed's a mess, but that if you pull that drawer, there's a fucking screwdriver there somewhere. Like all that takes energy from us in some sort of subconscious way, and when that goes, it's like freeing almost. It's like I don't need to think about that anymore.
Spot on. That is so true. Well, it's crazy when you think of like storage. As businesses, a storage is booming. It's like, how much shit do we need that we need to now store it? That we pay for something to hold it that we don't ever going to use. I love that. Yeah, sorry.
That storage industry is exploding. That's one thing that I like. Again, if I had to do it, I'd do it. But like, it'd be the last thing I do. Like, I refuse to pay money for storage.
It's just a sign that it's a tax on. You
mismanaging your life.
Yeah. It's a hoarding tax.
I love that. There's 2 rules my wife and I like to live by. It's like kind of like if we were looking to purchase something, it's like you got to think of it 3 times separately. If it's a nice dress for $100, okay, think about it 3 times before you want to go purchase it. And cost per use has become my favorite economics, way of thinking, because it's like, all right, my phone, $2,000. They're like, that's the most expensive thing. I'm like, yeah, but you spend 7 hours on it.
Yeah.
Divide that over the time. It's like,
cheap.
Your own.
Cheap.
And not to mention it's revenue producing, right? Like it's like without that.
I used to do something similar to that, Damo, when I used to work at Woolies when I grew up. And, at the time I was probably on, I don't know, 12 or $15 an hour, right? And when you're at that age, you're earning a couple $100 a week, I would justify purchases of how long it used to take me to earn it. I'd be like, I'm going to buy this shirt. And it's like, that's 5 hours or it's 3 hours or something. I'm like, am I going to get more than 3 hours use out of it or something? I'm like, yeah, I think it's a good purchase. And it's weird how you justify things like that now. I used to do that all the time.
It's interesting now growing up. I'm justifying things not too much on what it is, but is it an experience? I just finished reading a book called Die with Zero, which is like this concept of like we work too much and sometimes for too long, and we actually save too much money that we die with left over. And then it's like, well, what about those 5 to 10 years that you could have been traveling. And it kind of changed the perception of, all right, they were saying your go years and your slow years. And typically after 60 are your slower years. So it's like, all right now, is there something that I can experience now while my kids are young? I can take them and go travel. It's like, perfect. That's worth X amount of dollars that, to do. Or can I take them out camping? Or should I do skydiving now? Because it's very unlikely I'm going to do it at 80. So just trying to not justify things, but go,
invert it a little bit.
In my physical condition right now, what can I do with this body that I can't do maybe at 80?
And I think that's a typical mindset, right? People think, hey, if I delay gratification now and I'll spend in the future, I'll travel in the future. But when you're 70, 75, 80, like the last thing you're going to do is jump on a jam-packed flight and go through airports and navigate your way around, subway systems with foreign languages. Like, you don't want to do that.
Exactly.
Like you want to do it when with you and your wife, where you can handle it if you miss a meal. And because you can't afford it, and you can just go and swim in an ocean to stay clean for a couple of days, right? Like, you can do that.
Exactly.
Or you sleep on a train overnight.
It's bad, isn't it? Experiences, and that's kind of something I play this weird game with myself where it's like, how much do I need to work right now? Like, is it worth sacrificing staying up for a couple more hours? Or I'm constant battle, and it's like I don't want to miss out on my. They're not going to be 2.5 for long, obviously. We all grow up, and maybe I don't live tomorrow either. And it's like, how can I best balance my life or have my life playing like an orchestra where things are all happening in different spots, but playing harmoniously together? That's a constant battle for me, I tell you. Ooh.
It's cool about that you're
conscious of it.
Yeah, conscious of it, dude. Because I think that's like that's step one, is just being conscious of it. There's another. Have you read the book called The Saint, the Surfer, and the CEO?
I've heard of it. Would you recommend it?
Yeah, I'll send it to you after, dude. It's really cool because the way that it's written it's kind of like what that dialogue that you just mentioned, them like that back and forth is like, hey, like we want more, but like what does more give you? Like, what does that mean? Does it mean in order for me to have more, it means that I need to spend time away from my family? So is that worth it or not? But so it gives it through a point of view of like the saint, or like the preacher, and then the surfer is just laying on the beach all day surfing, and then the CEO who's like building a big massive company, leading teams and like high pressure situation. I won't give too much of it away, but it was a really well written book that helped me sort of visualize or conceptualize like exactly what you just mentioned.
What was your biggest taking point that kind of perhaps changed a few things? The
thing for me was that it's okay not to, you don't have to always be like, hey, I'm always going to be business. It's okay to be business, and it's okay to lay on a beach, and it's okay to, be spiritual. So like, you don't have to pick one. Like, you can do all of them at different times.
Pick your seasons.
Yeah, and that was, I'd have to give some of the book away, and I don't want to do that. But it's a really, really cool book.
That's cool. So you got back, anyway, we got back from overseas, and then you settle in, and how did the business ownership start?
Well, business ownership. So got back, 2.5, nearly 3 years away. I worked at a place called RBT. I spent quite a bit of time. It looks on my resume, like if I'm hiring myself, I'm probably not hiring it. I'm very diverse, like experiences, because I'm like, well, all right, what can you show me here? What can you? Take me through your journey of being a coach at RBT. And then it was like, oh, maybe there's another opportunity here. Oh, man, I'll go manage an F45. Oh, sweet. Maybe I'll go spend other time in another F45 coaching. And then I guess the only thing that got me to ownership was, I'm like, shit, I'm 28. Probably should, I don't know why I think this way, but I'm like, maybe I should own something, or maybe I should start growing. Maybe that's the best way to make money. And kind of have a bit more say in my time and my efforts, especially because at that time we're thinking we're going to have kids soon. And so I guess business ownership came from there. Right, from parents had said, hey, you can, happy to be your bank for a bit. We'll go halves, and got a business partner on as well. And so that's kind of where ownership happened we were about to. I laughed with my business partner yesterday. Actually, we were about to pull a deal and on another place, and they within the hour before we were signing papers, he figured out that, let's say, the MindBody account and the bank accounts weren't quite matching up. So they had forged a few things. And so we pulled the pin, and thank God we got out of that. And then the F45 South Perth presented itself, and it was, it was bright.
The partner identified that? Like there's like, hey, there's a...
Sure.
Right.
Wow.
Got ya.
Like within the hour, we're signing papers and sending money off into their account.
So discrepancy in what you were told versus what it was.
Yeah. Hey, this business turns over.
Yeah.
This business turns over 300,000. Look at the bank statements, mate. It's just 200 here. Like, what's going on here? Like, where's this other X amount coming? These are just numbers.
Yeah.
There's actually that reminds me of a story of actually a Scottish guy, Tony Quinn. He moved to WA with his family, and his dad bought a like a vending machine route sort of business in the WA area. And he said when he did due diligence on it, the guy said to him, "I'll come around on a Wednesday and we'll collect the coins." And they went around on the Wednesday, they emptied all the buckets in the coins and they counted it all up. And he said, "Oh, this is a gold mine." He said, "This is incredible." So they determined a price, and his old man bought this business. So he said he went around next week to collect the coins again. He said there was nothing in it. So he said, "Old mate's just been banking these coins up for years in this thing, waiting for a buyer." And he said, "I do this every week." So it's the same sort of thing, right? You got sold a dud. That's cool. So you bought a business. So when was that day, mate? It was like, how long you had South Perth for?
2.5. Yeah. So same. I bought a business and bought a daughter and had a child
at the same time.
So it would have been 4 months. So it was, let's say, January the 5th. We handed over on 2022, and this deal fell through, or we pulled out in October, I think it was.
Yep.
So 3 months prior. But yeah.
So you avoided the brunt of COVID?
Yeah. We had it was a small period where we had to, some regulations came in, but yeah, the business survived, and yeah.
How do you like business?
How do I like business? I think it's definitely not easy in that way. Like when I say easy, you make up with you. I think it's how you approach things. So for me, it was like, I feel like I can best leverage my time and give, because I can get something in return potentially. Like, it's all just a potential, right? You're not guaranteed you're going to make X amount of money. But I think, choosing business was having control over my time, I think, and being able to call shots within reason. Obviously, it's a franchise F45, so I can call shots within reason, but just being able to perhaps influence a team or influence. And when I say influence, I'm saying showing up and by action and doing you're not typically what you say, but what you do and how you show up every day, and influence like that. And then influence look after the team, and then the team look after the culture of the gym. And so that's probably where I sit in that. It's just like my time and, opportunity to perhaps not rent out my time for too long.
Do you reckon you've grown as a person, like during your time as a business owner?
Absolutely. You have to. You have to. In this industry, I think, you learn a lot. Like, for example, just my business partner finding out about that deal, and there's some discrepancy. Like, that's a learning point, isn't it? You're like, okay, next time, if something's too good to be true, it's probably not true, right? It's probably not true. And so you make lots of mistakes. When someone new walks into the thing, I'm like, make as many mistakes, just learn from it. Like, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to piss someone off. Someone's not going to like it. That's okay. Just figure out why and where you can work it out. And from there, just learn. Like, I'll give you 3 chances. Right? Don't make 3 bloody the same mistake. But absolutely, growth is the biggest part. And I think that growth I do my best to try grow every day, or try be open. And you know what? Having kids has helped that, because they give you a new perspective on life. They see things you don't see. And it makes you take a step back and go, oh, okay, perspective's so important. If I don't know the answer, let me ask someone. So growth and openness, I think, has definitely, well, the openness to grow has helped with growing as such.
I think for me, like when, I had a 12-year career in mining and Courtney did too. The thing that I started to get sort of cold feet in mining, I guess, for lack of a better word, was I just felt like I stopped getting challenged. And I was actually searching out to be challenged. And, when I come across small business, I was like, it's a challenge. And like I've been at it for 5 years now, basically. Yeah, it's about 5 years we've been sort of in business now. And every single day, mate, there's something new going on. Every single day there's something happening. There's, challenge. And I haven't adapted to that yet still. There's always, and growth obviously brings challenges as well, but there's always something constantly happening for me. That's my experience where, I was actually searching for that. And then when you get it, you're like, it hits you.
Yeah, you got to really love the challenge. My business partner, he's amazing. You don't have to go as fast as you think. Nothing's as urgent as you think. And that's kind of helped because it's like you receive something or hear something or something happens to you. It's like, okay, just take a minute. When I say a minute, maybe a day or two as well. But and then because you want to react, right? And let's just take a step back. Let me just give myself a chance to chill out for a sec, consume as much information, try to understand why, and then react from there, or give your best answer. But I think that's the thing. I think being vulnerable is the key there, isn't it? With challenges, it's like, hey, I'm doing my best. If you can come and understand, I'm doing my best to execute A, B, and C. Please just give me a minute. Like, hey, I'm not trying to hurt you. My intention's to help, so it's okay. But yeah, I don't know, with challenges. And sometimes just thinking worst case scenario, right? What's my worst case scenario? That's okay. It's okay. But I'll be all right. Like, my wife and I have my 2 kids and maybe another house at Trav's or something. At a mate's house, sorry.
And what's the part you like? What's the part of business you like the most, Damo?
People. Oh, mate,
People.
I love it. People probably don't love that. I love that much because at 5 a.m. it's like, damn, I've just woken up.
Yeah.
You still see the pillow marks, and I'm just like, hey, how are you? Just had my cold shower. So what are you doing? What's your plan today? How are you feeling? Good is not an answer. Like, that's not a feeling. Can you tell me, hey, Damo, it's 5 a.m. I'm tired. Okay. All right, sweet. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, people energize me and give me so much energy. And talk about growth. When you know everyone is different, everyone has has a background, has different needs, have all these things. You're like being curious and having a moment to just hear that person, and all of a sudden, you're having to deal with little challenges everywhere. But yeah, there you go.
What you're talking about before, from a feeling point of view, like these, when you're saying like, hey, like when you spend money, you want the feeling. Like that's what these guys on the front end, it might look like they've bought a membership, but like on the back end, they've brought interaction with you, and like they get that feeling of, and they might not like show it straight away at 5 a.m., but like that is a massive part of the reason why they turn up every week and train in your gym.
I hope so.
For sure, dude.
And hopefully people can see your intentions, right? And so I think that's the big thing. It's like, as long as my heart's aligned in the right direction, I do my best. It's like, even if an issue happens at work, it's like, why did, let's say an example, one of the coaches, she did some fixing, but she popped the old ball to fix the new ball or something like that. Anyway, but her intention was to help fix it. And it's like, in the case it was broken, that's okay. Like, your intention was to help, so it doesn't matter. Like, there's no skin off that. So I think intention's the most important, right? Because that kind of, people will see that, or I hope people see that, and that I'm not just here for, thanks for your $60 or $70 a week. That's not what it's about. But yeah, so you hope for that. Yeah.
How do you balance family and business?
How do I? You got the answer. How do I balance? I try to get out of the house.
Yeah.
I have to get out of the house. So going for a walk with the kids and Michaela, a lot of that time is Michaela debriefing about her day with the kids, which is beautiful. and just having a listen. But for me, I need to get out of the house. So the balance is that, or well on holiday, booking a holiday again, or sorry, I rephrase this. When I say holiday with kids, it's not a holiday; it's an adventure. So yeah, if you want a holiday, give them to the grandparents, and you and the wife can nick off somewhere. But yeah, so it's just trying to prioritize that and listening and kind of trying to be intuitive with what's urgent and what's important. So my daughter, she's at daycare right now for 4 hours, which I'm very grateful. That's why I'm doing it on this day. She'll be walking in here going boo, and I'll be like, oh honey, give me a sec, and then boo. I'm like, all right. The childish Damo is coming out now. I'm gonna put this on pause, whatever I'm doing. This is not urgent.
Yeah.
Give her a surprise and go cuddle her. And so how do I balance that? I think people externally help me balance, right? And it's like trying to, and it's like, is this urgent or is this what box does this go? Urgent or important? And that kind of helps me prioritize what needs to be done. And like it's like, what have I done? Yeah, the balance is like, if I got a diagnosis that I'm only going to live for 6 weeks, would I still be doing what I'm doing? And it's kind of, it sounds morbid and stuff, but it's just like, I'm just trying to make sure I'm doing the things that I love doing. Otherwise, why do it? Like, life is so short. And as I said, I'm going to a funeral for an 18th, and I'm sure he didn't think that he was, I'm sure he thought I'm going to live to whatever, right? And it's like, little things like that just make you pause and stop and go, hey, that little girl going boo, I'm going to wish that if I make 80, And so that's how I balance. The kids help me with that. And getting out, the way I balance by prioritizing my family is getting out of the house, because I work at home. So it's just like, all right, leave my phone at home. Obviously my computer will be at home, and could go enjoy some time and get rid of the phone, because that sucker will keep you busy.
Absolutely. Well, Zach and I have been on Opal. Have you heard of that? The screen blocking app?
No.
So it blocks, like you can block whatever URL, right? So like I've blocked my Instagram and like social medias through like basically from 6 a.m. till 5 p.m. And it's crazy, man. Like I've reduced my Instagram screen time, and it's embarrassing but motivating to say, by fucking 8 hours a week, dude. So about an hour and 20 minutes.
It's a fucking solid day of just Instagram time. Mate.
Yeah, but it's only an hour and 20 minutes throughout each day, right? Like it's like 10 sessions of 6 minutes.
I've actually found it as well, because I'm the same, but I was using it like in between meetings. I have 10 minutes or I have 15 minutes, and it was like, I haven't got time to do anything, so I'll just scroll. Like, you just like, what's the update? And I'll be on Twitter and I'll be like searching for the next feed, and it's, you catch yourself in that. And I find now, like, even at the end of the night, like sometimes it's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night before I even think to get on these things anymore. And then when I get on there, I'm like, I've caught up in 5 minutes and I'm off.
Yeah,
it's boring. It's like there's nothing on there. So yeah, it's I'm still sort of adjusting to it. Every now and again, I'll go reach for it and I go bang, and it sort of blocks you. I go, okay, cool, and it's a bit of a trigger. But yeah, I think it's a really, especially in work time, I think it's a really cool thing. Yeah, just Opal. Yeah, it's.
I'll send you a message after, dude. You got 33 days.
Yeah, like it's
$100 a year,
$100 a year or something.
It's so
like,
cheap.
What can 8 hours make you, right?
That's
Dude.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So, and what was I going to say? Go, keep going. I'll
Can't remember. Yeah, so I think it's a huge one. Massive one. Yeah, I love it. I love it now. I'm on the hook.
Someone said, like, if Facebook was $40 a month, would you pay for it? And you're like, probably not.
Yeah.
So you'll become the product, aren't you?
Correct. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. That's cool, mate. What's the future hold in for Damo, you think? Is it knuckle down F45, keep the South Perth studio pumping? What's the roadmap?
What is it? Yeah. What am I, 30, 31 in a couple of months? I try to keep things real short term. I talked to my best mate, and this was a couple of years ago. I said, mate, what's your 5-year plan? He's like, 5 year, mate. I don't think of that. And it kind of, I said, what? That's bizarre. And he shared this perspective. It's like, if you have a 5-year plan, you'll miss a lot of opportunities thinking that was your goal. Yeah. And I was like, he's right. actually, you know what? Let me just focus on the things that I want to be. Sorry, focus on who I want to be as a person, and make sure those daily actions equal the person I perhaps want to look like in the future me. So you asked me what's the plan? Like right now,
Just continue doing what you're doing.
yeah, continue what I'm doing. Well, I love it, and while I have the energy, maybe I'll do this till 80. I don't know. But yeah, I'm always interested. I'm always looking at things. Oh, do we buy a house? Do we flip this? Look at this business over here. So I'm always interested in looking. Growth is a massive factor in it, and continuing changing people's lives. Changing people's lives sounds a bit far-fetched. I know it's the motto at 45, but maybe having a small influence on someone's life that might send them off somewhere else. While people involved, I don't know why I would go and look elsewhere. So it's just, this is it at the moment, and enjoying my wife and my two beautiful kids growing up, and that's kind of what I'm looking at the moment. And I'll let you know if things change.
Legend. It's been an absolute pleasure to sit down and learn all about you, my man, and get a bit of an insight into your life. It's super interesting, dude, and I'm super grateful that you've been able to express that with us.
Thank you, gents. No, it's I feel honoured you guys would actually reach out and ask questions, because, as you know, not many people ask questions, right? And you're always begging for a chance, but when an opportunity comes, you're just like, this is all of me. So thanks for thinking of me and saying, let's chat with Damo. So really appreciate this.
My pleasure, brother.
Appreciate you, dude.
Thanks, big dog. We'll talk soon.
Love you both.
Love you, big dog.
See you,
Peace.
Damo. Legend, bros. Bye.